this started. So most of us know Mark McKenzie from DocuMax as a very social person, not just in person, but online. And Mark has brought a friend, Tracey, who he's learned a lot with, and we're going to have a great discussion with about LinkedIn. So Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
So I want to introduce Tracey Fudge. She's a longtime friend and has been a strategic network referral partner of mine for a very long time. And she understands the power of give, which is something that I strive for. And so does she. She basically is a demand and business growth strategist, or AKA the sales coach. But she also is the creator of the LinkedIn Authority Method, and so she basically helps companies and individuals promote their brand, get it right on LinkedIn. And so I invited her to come and join us today, and she accepted. I don't know why. Sometimes she always is very nice to me. So she's a wonderful person, a great person to know. And thank you for joining us, Tracey.
Thank you so much.
So I pretty much had just a few questions that we're all interested in. And one, I've listed them here on this page, but one that everyone always asks me is, time. What's the investment? What's that investment of time that people have? And I've basically looked at social selling index scores, which LinkedIn has available for everybody to look at themselves and see what their scores are. And it kind of gives you tidbits on how to improve that. So, Tracey, how do we go about establishing a personal and professional brand on LinkedIn?
Well, I wish that it was very straightforward and there's one or two or even three things you should do. The measurement of the social selling index is a mystery at best. However, my score is, and I'm a LinkedIn strategist, and I've only got a 65. So I don't think that there's ever like an A or an A plus. A lot of folks are in the 20% range. So to segue into the amount of time, the algorithms on LinkedIn prefer you to be active. How much time that is, I don't know if there's a magic number. I say at least 30 minutes a day, and trying to post comments and engage with other people, engage with your network, go in and read. And LinkedIn knows how long you can read an article versus just liking. You want to be genuine in that interaction. And in turn, when you post something, the viewers will have your content presented in front of their eyes as well. So I think that's answering part of the question. It's activity. It is obviously filling out your profile 100%, showing value. For instance, if you want to sell your product or your solution, well, put together some case studies, maybe some graphs, maybe media, video, audio, things like this to really make your profile stand out to others that are viewing it.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I think a lot of us here try to do that within their certain time constraints. So one of the other questions is when connecting with the right people, and is it more important to actually connect with your industry or expand it to where you're connecting with a network of people? And then how do you find those people on LinkedIn? I mean, is there a certain magic sauce that you know of, or is it?
Well, I leverage Sales Navigator quite a bit, and that is the paid premium version. Sales Navigator does have quite a bit of filters, and it also has a alerts method. So if you were to plug in your strategic accounts, your target accounts that you want to go after from a sales perspective, you would see alerts to the company, the senior leaders in that company, and then you could engage that way. For instance, if they've posted an article, you would go in and comment and engage. So you can get alerts that are set up for you to make it a little more easy. And then that could probably help you minimize the amount of time that you do spend on LinkedIn and Sales Navigator.
So when you're prospecting for clients, then you basically develop a list, and then you utilize Sales Navigator to actually alert you when they're posting, when they're on LinkedIn, when they have something relevant to discuss, then you're able to join the conversation. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, that's correct. And it's saving accounts in there. It's creating lists. It's saving leads, people as leads and businesses as accounts. And if you don't have Sales Navigator, there's workarounds for that inside of LinkedIn. But I think it's important to not just, we used to leverage being introduced. For instance,
Right.
Hey, Bob, do you know Sally over at DocuMax? And wait for Sally to make that introduction. Well, today, you don't need to wait necessarily. You could approach it that way, but also have in parallel a direct approach to Sally, for instance.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So, so how often do you suggest that, to become engaged and active in LinkedIn, how often do you suggest that, we post, engaging and quality business content? And then also, is there a specific place to actually find that content?
Well, this is tricky. It used to be once a week. We say now to try to post and be active organically. For instance, you don't want to repost someone else's article. You want to have something that you've written or summarized 3 to 5 times a week and on a regular basis, so that, again, LinkedIn presents your profile and your content because you're active, and they reward you by then presenting that content in front of other people's eyes to see. And in terms of where to get content, it used to work to repurpose other third-party content. That was just as good. But now people want a personalized view of who you are. You could summarize someone else's content, but definitely they want to see how you write and what your point of view is. So writing is very, very important today.
Is that part of LinkedIn has a LinkedIn creator content page or whatever that you can participate in as a content?
Go ahead.
As a content provider, is that what you're kind of discussing, is that those individuals are creating their own content and writing their own stories and posts? And because I see several of the people are getting higher and higher ranks on LinkedIn. They're getting a lot more views, the comments, as part of that social creator, content creator, as being a LinkedIn content creator. I was just curious if you're familiar with that or have an idea.
Yeah, LinkedIn bought a platform years ago called Pulse, and they integrated it. Pulse doesn't present the long form articles as much as they used to. It's a good idea. You could go there and write your own content, write a long article, and then summarize it inside of a post. But posts are what get the views, not those long articles, unfortunately.
Right. And then I guess, the other question I had with is, basically, do you have any suggestions on how to, continue those conversations and build those relationships within, LinkedIn, and, connecting to other groups within, the social groups in LinkedIn, or ways to find the opportunities to basically, you were talking about staying on LinkedIn. LinkedIn wants us to stay there. They want us to use the actual platform itself in messaging, posting, creating. They want us to stay as much on that platform as much as possible, as opposed to posting something and then having it go out to another page or landing page. They want us to stay within that. Do you have any suggestions on, how to do that, as well as to continue to build the relationships within LinkedIn, so we are staying on the platform?
Well, LinkedIn, you should look at it as your own website. So, and you're right, you want to keep whoever you're targeting, your audience, you don't want to send them to links off of LinkedIn. You'd like to keep them there. LinkedIn has expanded its ability to post and share content inside of LinkedIn and media. So you could, inside a post, for instance, you could attach a PDF document or something like that, where people can view what you have to say, a use case or a case study right there on the platform without having to leave. Because once you leave, you've lost that eyeball. So,
Right.
or those sets of eyeballs. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that kind of answers the question I had, because that's one of the things I try to do personally is I try to stay within LinkedIn on everything that I try to do. So when I'm there, I'm spending my time wisely on LinkedIn, and I'm actually, hopefully I'm helping LinkedIn find me as well by being on LinkedIn. So I spend a little bit more than a half an hour a day on LinkedIn. So I was just thinking that maybe we should, open it up to any questions within the group and see if anyone else had any questions for Tracey.
Jeff, go
Who
ahead.
we asked?
Jeff Lovejoy. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Tracey, hi, Jeff Lovejoy. What's the recommended length for posts? I mean, you see some that have the couple lines and then it says read more and it just goes on for paragraphs after that. Is that the ideal, or is it to keep it short and concise and maybe 3 or 4? I don't know if you get much across in 3 or 4 sentences, but is shorter better?
It is, and you don't want people to have to click a more button. So you want to have your entire message in the post that fits in the box. So you have to test it. And the idea is to have some sort of headline, very short. I mean, the grammar doesn't matter as much as it used to anymore. You don't need to complete the sentences, but you want to try to educate or share 3 or 4 points. So you have a headline, maybe a question below that. Did you know, da, 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 da. Put your 3 bullets and then have a call to action or something, click below for something. But that is the format of it. And you're right, it should be short, and because people are skimming, they want to see just bullet points of ideas.
Thank you.
Who
Hi,
we
Tracey.
asked in the chat about the score? How is there a way you can find out your score?
Yes, there is a link, and they keep moving it around. Mark, the link.
I put the link on, it's on the slide, on the actual slide, but it's
It's in the chat now.
Yeah, it's in the chat. Okay. So it's in the chat now. One of the other questions is that, I'm seeing a lot of surveys on LinkedIn, and actually I'm seeing a lot more interaction with those surveys. Or is that helping with your views of your post and your questions, or are you seeing any major results in doing surveys? Is that helping?
Well, you want that interaction. It's just you get the eyeballs, and then you get someone to read it, and once they interact, that's just another point of connection. So that interaction is very, very good. And I would, if it were me, anybody that responded, I would take that conversation offline. So try to get a call, because you don't want to stay online forever and ever. Right. And try to get a call with Calendly. Reach out to them directly. A lot of folks do share their phone numbers and their emails right inside of LinkedIn. So a lot of times it's pretty easy, but it's just another point of touching, and they're leaning into your content, which is a good sign.
Right. Well, and that's how you develop the relationships, and you find the hidden gems. Are those people that you may not be directly connected to that ask those questions. And that's one of the powers of LinkedIn that I've always found. And it's amazing to me how people will reach out to you. So any other questions?
Yes. Hi, Tracey. Thank you for your time. A quick question. So basically, I was trying to reach out to a CEO, and when he responded, he said, "Oh, contact my VP." And so I think either I sent a message or I sent a note to ask to connect. And I think usually what that person might see is that VP, they would see that I'm connected to their CEO, but I'm wondering, is it better to have premium to be able to send them a message that will more likely reach them? What's the way that I could do that better? Because I'm not sure that that person got the message I intended, but I wanted them to understand that, you know, I'm not just doing this out of the blue. It's your colleague that was suggesting I contact you.
I would pick up the phone and call them and leave a voicemail. You're likely to get a voicemail, but phone calls actually matter now than they used to because people are starting to use phones again. So it's
Sure.
interesting. So you touch them there. You could guess on an email with the format of the email from the company. You could send them an email, lob a voicemail into the company. And then for the premium version, you do get in-mails which show up as email. And you know, that would be another option as well.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
I actually just wanted to add to Tracy's awesome presentation and say that in interacting, your own profile, what's in your headline and what's in your about section are really important, because if someone is interested in engaging with you, one of the first things they're going to do is go to your profile and look at you. So you want to make sure to use content in your profile that engages who's ever looking at it, so they're more interested.
Tracey, it's Jeff Lovejoy again. I got another question for you. I always try to put graphics or pictures in on posts.
I'm having
but
trouble hearing, Mark, so if you want to wrap up the call and we'll,
Okay. I'm sorry. So we're having some technical difficulties, but I would like to thank Tracey, first of all. And in the chat section, I put Tracey's LinkedIn profile. So you can reach out to Tracey if you had any other questions, as well as link in with Tracey. She's a valuable resource for me and has been for quite